Hello and good evening. It feels like a fucking age since I've said those words to you guys as well, but good evening. Welcome along to another one of your Celtic Supporters podcast as well. Baz, Andy, thank you for joining us tonight. We should have Paul jumping in screen any second or any minute now, as usual Friday nights, couple of minutes as well. But gentlemen, before we get on to thank our sponsors and stuff, how the bloody hell are you, Andy boy? How's your week been, son?
Aye, all right, mate. Fine. I'm just absolutely raging because my gas is just about to cut out. It's just, I see it spitting away there, so I'm going to have to go and get another canister. Obviously, no, now we'll do the pod and then I'll sort something out tomorrow morning. But I'm absolutely raging because even though you think the weather's turned a wee bit and it's sunny, it's like it's creaking around the corner. The cold in it, it's just waiting for you to come out with a t-shirt on to jump on. You go, you fucking think so, aye. So I'm going to get my heat sorted out in here. It's just blotting away there, the last wee bits of fumes burning away. But other than that, I'm all right.
And the Iran war's not going to make the gas canisters.
No, it's no, mate. It's no.
Good man, Andy boy. Baz, my son, welcome back to the podcast. It's been a few weeks, obviously working hard, my man. How the hell are you, son?
Yeah, I just hope it's no carbon monoxide, Andy. I'm back.
I bet you hope.
No, I'm on holiday. I'm on holiday, Hoggy, so I thought, it has been a while just with life and weddings and work, and it's just been busy, and I just thought, well, you're off this week, so there's no excuse. So I thought, you know what, let's get it on. It's good to be back, good to be here again, and welcome to all the viewers. I see all the names haven't changed in the past few weeks, so good to be back. Thanks, Hoggy. Yourself?
Man. Good, but listen again, another kind of busy week at work. I was off Monday there. Obviously, we weren't on Monday as well, just again, work and stuff like commitments with everybody else as well. So it was only going to be me you would have seen on Monday. But I was off on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, again, busy. And yes, I've been looking forward to this because I'm looking forward to this weekend. And we'll obviously get into that with regards to tomorrow and what tomorrow means and who else is going to be there tomorrow. And it's the start of the final split, final fixture before the split. So I'm having a really, really Good Friday. I have decided to open a purple one.
Oh,
we'll do that as the pod goes on as well. But Baz,
that's like a purple one as well, Hoggy.
I've had a good week, my man, as well. And there, Paul jumped in. Paul, my man, how are you, son?
All right, lads. I've got a new computer, so it's working so far so good. Although that was why I was a bit late because I was a bit worried that it wasn't going to work. All good. Baz, nice to see you, matey. We missed about the place, son, so it was a lovely wee surprise, first of all. All good. I've just been having a fish tea with my in-laws for some reason on a Friday. I had a good day today. What did I do today? I had a great day today, actually. I was doing the High Street and fortuitously bumped into the Reform crew doing their thing on the High Street. Suffice to say that didn't go too great for them. They were not to speak to me. 50 minutes later, I was still there rolling the ball at them. So that was good. And in general, life's been all right. Fixtures, sure we'll come into that. Couldn't have felt any better in our although partly some people struggle with maths and the fact that you might play the same amount of games at the end of the season. But so that's gave us as good a chance. That gave me a wee spring on my step, actually. And all good.
Good man. So before we jump into, because it feels as if it's been a good few weeks since the four of us. Certainly I've been on a pod as well, but obviously we're on Monday, we're on Friday, so it's a long time actually, it feels, since I've actually been here. But we will basically bring back to you your normal CSP crack, your normal CSP batter. But what I just wanted to jump on was a couple of things you may have seen on the introduction as well there. We've actually added a new sponsor. So the new sponsor for the podcast as well, alongside Adelante's a long-time clothing sponsor as well. And we thank Des for everything that he's done for us and allows us to, yes, there's Baz modelling off the CSP t-shirt there as well. So, yeah, Des allows us to basically give back to you guys as well with regards to giveaways and stuff. And we will be doing a giveaway next week as part of that introduction to the new sponsor as well. The new sponsor is McFadden Decor. McFadden Decor is a good friend of mine and Baz. Andy and Paul have met Stephen a few times as well, on the bus. He is a member of the KT CSC and he is a proper good boy. He is a viewer of the podcast as well. So hopefully, Stephen, if you're there as well, get your name up on the podcast, give us a wee hello, and we will have a chat with you going forward as well about what this podcast can bring back to you guys. But if anybody out there is looking for a fantastic and, may I say, award-winning painter and decorator as well for your home, give Stephen a shout. He will give you a fantastic rate on what is going to be a fantastically completed painting and decorating job. I don't know the ins and outs of painting and decorating as well, but Stephen is fucking good at it. And as I say, it is award-winning at that. So, gentlemen, thank you very much, everybody, for coming. Now, Paul, I'm going to come to you first of all, because you mentioned something that we've no had the chance really to jump on, which is the post-split fixtures. We've obviously got one game tomorrow, which is the final game before the split, and then we've got the Scottish Cup next week. So it's a couple of weeks before we actually enter into there. But you mentioned as well that you were jumping for joy a bit by the fixtures themselves. So go on, my friend. What's your thoughts on how we are looking after the split?
I think it's gave us as the best opportunity. I mean, it's obviously fair, the amount of games that we're due to play, but I think the way the games have fell, I mean, it's probably fair. It's probably, that's how bad Scottish football. It's probably because it's been done fairly that I am so happy. You know what I mean? It's not like any serious advantages have been handed out. It's just been done fair. I think getting Hearts last game of the season, I'm very surprised at that one, because I mean there's so many scenarios could come out of that day. I mean the worst, the best one obviously for us is we've already won the league, or we're playing to win the league that day. The worst scenario for all concerned is, and I hate to even say these words, that the Huns win it. And they all hate what's going to happen there. They're going to head up the city centre as your ground's empty, and so there's that scenario.
It'll not be George Square, Paul, because that's all under reconstruction. So we're not going to get anywhere near that.
Aye, well, you know what I mean. That's sort of, I know what you're saying, mate. That's my local knowledge, no shining through. But no, I think it gives us just the way the games have failed, Hoggy. It just gave me a feeling that this is doable again, because I think after Tannadice, I had went back into that kind of, came what, fuck it, prove me wrong, go and win these 7 games as it was at the time, and prove me wrong, because I didn't think he's capable, and a huff basically, as we've all been on season for big periods. Then obviously we get the news that the Green Brigade's back in the Mora, which I think for most of us anyway is a big step in the right direction, and should add to a far better occasion the Mora than it already was going to be. So I think just for the first time this season, I think everything kind of just landed right in the same bit. I'm already at the end of the day, you're seeing a couple of players training that you're hoping are going to be to come in at some point. I think Osman Dengels and Alison Johnson were in training. I can't see any of them featuring the Mora by any matter of means, but it just feels that for the first time there's a feeling of positivity. There's a feeling that things are kind of going in the right direction, and I didn't think I'm the only person that feels like that. I think that's a general consensus with folk I've spoke to, and I would imagine, and we'll find out if that's shared in here and in the comments.
Yeah.
I look very pink, by the way. Is this new computer? It's a brand new, just took the watch computer for my work, and I've either caught the sun, I've either got high blood pressure, or it's very fucking high on colour. One of the three.
It's your laptop, mate. It's you don't need to change the settings, but you look nice and healthy, so I would just keep it the way it is. Aye. I'm just glad you came on no wearing black, because I've just noticed we're all wearing black apart for you, so good to kind of split it up a wee bit.
Shout out to, I see there's my big mucker Chubb coming in, and his mate Jace, who I've just not long been with. So shout out to Chubb and Jace. Jace, top man, son. Welcome aboard, first time watching, good top lad. That's that, and the big man, obviously. We know the big man. So I'm going to go back a bit with these colours, I think. Or if that came up, I'm not going to touch it. And then it'll end up going off or something.
Wait to post-pod as well and sort that out. But I'm the same, Paul. I got a real laptop delivered to me yesterday. And again, didn't even think about the StreamYard and the YouTube stuff as well, and tried to log in. It was asking for login details again. I'm like, fuck, because usually it's just easy. Click on the link or click on StreamYard and it takes me straight through. So I've not been able to get into my emails or my Google Chrome or any of that kind of stuff as well. So we'll sort that out over the weekend. But Baz, let's kind of jump onto yourself, mate. As Paul says, Paul's pretty happy with how the post-split fixtures are looking. Obviously, as I say, we've got I don't want to kind of play it too lightly, but I don't want to play it too difficultly. But we've got a big game tomorrow, which is going to set the tone, I think, for how we look going into the post-split stuff. We play St Mirren this weekend and next weekend as well. So we've got a double header there. And let's say we win the game comfortably tomorrow and we're supported and roared on by the return of the Green Brigade. And then we go again next week and beat St Mirren in there. Would you agree with Paul and say that you're very much, you're kind of thinking very positively again about how that post-split has seemed to be kind of worked out for Celtic?
I totally, as usual, I agree with a lot of what Paul said, and I try to keep it nice and simple. I've heard all the theories and all the borderline conspiracies, and one thing that hasn't been mentioned is, we've played one less home game up until now, which nobody seems to have highlighted. Mm-hmm. So in fairness, if that's the word that's kicking about, is it unfair thus far that Celtic have played one extra away game? And when you look at it and break it down nice and simple, you've got 6 league games to go, and 4 of them are at home. Now, of course, you would love to be in Hearts' shoes because they're top by default. They're in the best position in theory. But if you've got 6 games left and 4 at home, and you can tuck away the 2 nearest contenders at home, I think out of the 3, I think you would have chose ours. The double headers always make me nervous because you could get them all, and I'm tempted to say we're due to give somebody a doing, but at this stage of the season, however you win, you just need to win. Positivity, I don't think I've ever lost it. I've said to you all through, I firmly believe we will still win it. And as I say to you, if I had to choose a run-in, it would be ours, because I think all 3 teams could say it's in our own hands, because if we win all our games, we'll win the league. Right, fair enough. But I think you've got a better chance of doing that being at home most. So it's all good news to me. I don't think you were expecting to hear anything else, so I won't disappoint. So full steam ahead. 6 cup finals, really, isn't it? But the neutral ground for 2 games in a week always makes me slightly nervous. But it's time to stand up. It's time to step up, and just go on with it. You play a game, you win a game, move on to the next one.
So Andy, as Baz is saying there, it's 6 cup finals we've got, plus a semi-final and potentially another cup final after that as well. So there's everything to play for in basically every game. There's not going to be any games as well that's got any less meaning to it, regardless whether it's against Hearts, regardless whether it's against Rangers. Do you think that for what Celtic needs, because we've spoke about in the last few weeks about the ability for Celtic to put a consistent run together of actually beating teams? Now, we've said that it's in Celtic's hands, it's not in Celtic's hands, it's in Celtic hands as well, but the fact that then that every game then has that level of importance to it that we kind of, and I don't want to play this as well, but I think we kind of need to win every game that we've got there. It's folk are saying as well that the Motherwell manager and other people are saying that all the top 3 will drop points post-split. I'm of the belief as well that I don't think we can afford to get beaten in any of the games. But I think it's something as well that we really need to be making sure that we're winning the games. Do you think that that's the case, or the fact that the importance of every game now? So when we play Hibs, we need to win. When we play Falkirk, we need to win. When we play Motherwell, we need to win. Obviously, we need to win against Rangers because that's the team we always need to fucking win against. And then Hearts in the last game of the season, we need to win. So there's that level of importance to everything. Do you think that will be a positive thing for Celtic, or do you think that will be something that will be like a noose around their neck with regards to the expectation and the pressure it will bring?
Well, it's Celtic, so the expectation and the pressure is always there with Celtic. Whether you're 15 points ahead at the end of the season, you're still expecting Celtic to go out and win.
Yeah.
What I would say is that we are in 3rd position, so we are probably the team that's got to win every game. We really can't afford a slip up. We've not got any kind of fallback. So that would be my concern. Whether you think all 3 contenders for the league are going to slip up, and in what context do you mean that? With draws or a defeat? Obviously a draw could be more favourable if you're going to drop points, because obviously you're picking up something. And it really depends who it's against as well. My concern is that, all right, we've got 4 games at home, but we have been beaten off our fellow contenders for the title at home. So, you know, hopefully having the GB, who keeps farting, by the way? Who is that?
Okay.
Who is that? It's a belter.
Not guilty. Not guilty.
Apologies if it isn't a fart, but it certainly sounded like one. And I think having the GB in's really going to help as well, because I've been missing for so long. Look how many big games I've been missing for.
Yeah.
So I think that could be a game changer. And by the way, it's been a long time coming that they're back in, you know. So I'm absolutely delighted that they're back in to support the team. I think it's absolutely scandalous it's took so long to do that. But they're back in and just push them on, get the whole stadium going, push them on. And every game is a cup final for us. It is. And you can look to the fixtures and say, well, that suits us, and it's probably worked out favourably for us. But I think all you can do is look at the next game, because I've said it before many, many weeks ago, we are not in a position to look further ahead in the next game. We simply only, because we haven't got any consistency. So I think that's the most important thing, is just concentrate in that game, just turn away, get the results. My concern is goal scoring as well, but if we can figure out a way just to win the game, that'll do me. Baz was right. Win every game, you win the league. That's it. There's no reason why we can't do it. Well, there is a reason, because we're not fucking good enough, right? But you know what I mean? From a Celtics perspective, they've been there and done it before. More than any other team we're up against. Hearts, they've never been in this position, but well, maybe 1986, 40 years ago. What a glorious year that was. And the fabulous Albert Kidd. Somebody mentioned in the chat, I don't know, was it Nicky that said that we should get, in fact, Toronto boy, Brian, that watches us for Canada, he actually messaged me and said we should get Walter Kidd back for the Albert Kidd back for the final day at Celtic Park, and fingers crossed, and God help us that we're still in a position to win the league title on the last day, because there would be nothing better if that was the case. If it was us and Hearts and we had to win the game and we beat them, and Albert Kidd was there to see that, it would just be magnificent.
See, it's pretty simple for me, right? Regarding this run-in, if somebody was to say to you, even with a half-decent Celtic team of the past, now I know that's a different factor, there's your 6 games, win these 6 games and you win the league, you would be fucking rubbing your hands. You'd be rubbing your absolute fucking hands. The hands at home, your 2 main contenders at home, and your away games being Motherwell and Hibs. You didn't win. If that's your task and you didn't win them, then you didn't deserve to win the fucking league. It's as simple as that. That's where I am with it, and I'm still, I'm as confident as I've been. I've been up and down, fucking roundabout and everything, as we all have most of the season, and I'm back to being as confident as I've been. But I am tempering that confidence with absolutely the fact that this team hasn't risen to too many challenges this season. Although they have conversely risen to a few quite big challenges. So there's that. The whole season's just been fucking. You could say one thing and another thing completely contradicts it, and that's another thing, because they have won some really big games and they've lost some really big games and games you'd expect to win. So I am very simply straight down the middle with it. Having the Green Brigade back's fantastic and a boost, although it'd be funny if we could beat them all on their first day back. But no, I know I'm not a jest, obviously. But I am very much, that's where I am right now. Game at a time. Confidence is as high as it's been, which isn't through the roof by any matter of means, but it's as high as it's been. But the simple fact of the matter is, if that squad, if you want to take all the factors into consideration, the things that didn't win your football games, but if you want to talk about wage bills, if you want to talk about player profile, if you want to talk about Leagues One, experience, been there, done it, blah, de blah, de blah, manager, been there, done it against 2 folk that haven't done it at all, never mind been there, and all the factors should point to us. That's it. There's your task, boys. 6 games, win them, and you've won one of your probably most unlikely at times and sweetest and one of the most memorable leagues that you win as players. If that's not enough incentive to do it, knowing that you're actually better than the teams you're playing and you're playing the 2 teams at your own ground, you know what I mean? Motherwell obviously always a tricky one, but again, Ken, what I mean, is that where we are? That obviously it is, but come on to fuck. Ken, to win a league, beat Motherwell in Motherwell, again, should be very doable. Hibs away, same again, should be very doable. That's your away games.
Yeah.
Even a lot harder. Ken, what I mean? So, come on to fuck, get it done.
Yeah, I agree with you, Paul. And I think one of the points that you mentioned on there is generally for any Celtic side over the last how many years you want to get back, if you go back and say you win 6 games in a row and you're champions, you'd be sitting like that, fucking yoldy, here we go, because Celtic are that, or have been in the past as well, that winning machine. We've never been in this position with 6 games to go, mind you, that we're sitting third, 3 points behind the leaders, behind in goal difference. So it's a very, very different kettle of fish as well, Baz, that we're looking at just now. Paul mentioned as well that you've got a squad there as well that's better than the rest. And I would agree the fact that if you look player for player in the Celtic squad, then as quality, now we know we've got some absolute rubbish in the squad, but if you look at actually kind of taking them aside and saying, right, who's going to be your game-used players that you're going to trust in these 6 games? Because I guarantee you there will be a split there as well, that Mark Money will be sitting saying, right, I need people as well that I can trust to actually roll their sleeves up and do exactly what I asked them to do. Do exactly what the fans expect you to do as well, which is 100% every single fucking time. I guarantee you as well, he'll have cut that squad down to bare minimum to say, these are the guys that I'm going to trust in these last few games here. But what do you think? What could you put your finger on to say that the fact that why have Celtic struggled so much then over the last couple of months? That the fact that if we have got a squad which is better, and we've got a manager that clearly is his aptitude is about getting the best out of players, where does it fall down for Celtic? Why have we not been able to actually go and put that consistent run of form together? If we have got the best squad about, if we have got the best manager about, what's stopping us?
Putting the ball in the net, Hoggy. We cannot pin our hopes on. We can't pin our hopes on a fit. I'll say fit striker, because I firmly believe that when fully fit, and had he been fully fit the full season, that Iheanacho's the best striker you've got. I don't want to harp on about Kyogo again. He's still not been replaced.
It's good.
And then even with the Adamus of this world and the Chivancheras, that we keep trying these things out, and invariably you just put Maida through the middle again. Now, I did have a chain of thought, but if you take you back to Chivanchera's debut at Tynecastle, now we were led to believe once the legs get into their stride, he can get in behind the defence. I don't know if it's maybe a wee tweak he might put him off the left. I don't think he's the fastest off the mark. But that display at Tynecastle for that assist for Yang, wasn't it? I think that could be a wee tweak he could make. However, to answer your question, Hoggy, it's plain and simple for me. We cannot rely on a fit number 9.
No. By the way, Baz, I would say regarding his pace, if you've seen the goal that he didn't score, obviously hit the post, he looked fucking rapid when he went through on that one. On up and downs.
He's one of the.
But you never fancied him to score. I didn't ever think he was scoring.
And that's what I was going to say. Did you fancy him to net that, Paul?
No,
I think once he gets into his stride, he could be useful. But to Hoggy's point, and the players that you need to rely on, we all know who they are. I'm a fan of Sinisalo. Kieran Tierney is always going to have the backing of the fans. Callum McGregor, course and distance. It's time for a performance at Oxlade Chamberlain. Negren is the great enigma, but can you honestly see us playing without Negren? Because then you take away that goal contribution, Hoggy, and then it's time for the likes of Maida to be sparked into life. You've got the experience of James Forrest coming off the bench. You've got to think they're saying a lot in that changing room as well. So the time is now, Hoggy. The number 9 is the conundrum. The reliance on the course and distance players, because I would take our experienced campaigners over who Hearts and Rangers would suggest is their reliance. The Raskins of this world, the Shanklins of this world. I'm taking the Callum McGregors and the Kieran Tierneys every day of the week, but it's time to step up and stay up, Hoggy.
Andy, there's another thing that actually I might not ask this one now. It's a question that's been rattling my head all week to ask you, but I fear that it's going to kind of roll into a far bigger conversation and just kind of taking a wee kind of sidestep for this one as well. But Barry and Paul have kind of leaned on the fact that it's the number 9 that's the difference for us as well. And if you look at some of the performances we've put in and look at our last performance, away to Dundee, first half as well, we absolutely bossed it. We just couldn't finish our dinner. And then you're giving them that kind of optimism, I suppose, to come out and actually just put it on us. And they did for large parts of that second half as well. We were second best. And do you think that is just simply the fact that we've not had the most clinical first half, therefore they changed their mindset about things and just have a go at us? And if that's the case, then why can Celtic no react to that again if we are the better squad?
We simply have to get the players to react to it. I think that Svanchara would be better with somebody beside him up front, but I don't think we're ever going to see that, unfortunately, because it's going to leave a body short in midfield, and at times we are really fun out in midfield. Yeah. So I think we need the numbers in there to really solidify us. So we've got to give something somewhere, and unfortunately it's up front, and we're playing players that simply can't put the ball in the back of the net. This season has been just an absolute disaster when it comes to that, and Baz is absolutely right. Look where we are now, and Kyogo still hasn't been replaced. I think it's an absolute disgrace. And we shouldn't be surprised that we can't score goals, because look at all you need to do is look at the stats of the players that listen, they can bring players in and we can say, I like to look at this guy, and I've seen the highlights reel on YouTube, and now he can score different kind of goals. And I've seen that with Svanchara, and I was expecting a lot more than what we've got. Yeah. But, you look at what Kyogo gave us, we just half expected him to score in just about every game that he played, and he scored all different type of goals, and he was so dangerous and hanging off the shoulder of the defender. It caused real concern, and I think we don't seem to have. But even Maeda, when you look at it, used to cause absolute panic. Yeah. And you don't even see that as much after Maeda either. So we've lost a lot of press for the front players, which invites the other team forward, especially if they know that you can't put their ball in the back of the net, and they go, well, we can expose ourselves a wee bit further, a wee bit further forward at the back, because they are not going to score against us. So we may as well just, they're looking at the first half and going, if they're no ahead of us or wiping the flyaways, then why not have a go? Because they're more likely to miss a chance and score a chance. So it gives the other team optimism that they can actually go and either take a point or beat us, as we've seen quite a few times this season.
You've just literally took exactly what I was going to say next. We're caught in a cycle of this. And the cycle is simple. Teams still come out, and Celtic tend to, not all the time, but tend to start games reasonably well. And Andy's spot, I've actually wrote that down. If you're no blowing teams away, we're caught in this cycle, and we start to doubt ourselves, and the opposite happens to the other team, and they start to fancy their chance. We've seen it. I mean, let's be honest, we won last week, but there was points in that game. And I don't know if I watched another game to some of the other podcasts that I've watched this week, because they were saying, no time did I feel as though we were under any pressure. Having a fucking laugh, At 1-8 it was anybody's fucking game. There was a point in that half, only about 10 minutes to be fair, when Dundee very much looked like the more likely to go and win that game. It didn't last too long, and then you could turn it into a positive. It showed a bit of character. However, Andy's absolutely spot on, and the way I see it is, and if we're not going out and getting that second goal, which inadvertently we're no, obviously these will be discussions that have taken place in every other team's dressing rooms. Like we see what's happening with this Celtic team. They've got a deficiency. They've got many deficiencies, and one of them is, if they're not getting that second goal, then there's a panic sets in through them. They tend to sit back a bit more. They tend to knock about the ball instead of being that more direct. There's a clear panic starts to set in, and that's become a thing. And that's feeding. It's doing the opposite. It's giving us nervous energy, and it's giving the other team's positive energy. And you can see it playing out every week. So what we need to start doing really is getting that second fucking goal. Simple as that. It's as easy as that. I think once, and ironically enough, it was against probably one of the you could argue the best team in the best football team. The best team in the league's been blown away proportion to Motherwell, but the best football team in the league. And that was probably the only time that I can think of related to we've actually had a period of being quite comfortable with a two goal lead at one point in the game. Yeah. And we need to put that right. we need to fucking find a way to put that right. Simple as that.
We do. And one thing I just want to add to that as well, and Barry mentioned it about it, that there's the chat that we always have in Celtic podcasts and Celtic fans in general as well. We'll always get back to the fact that, we've not replaced Kyogo and we've not done this, we've not done that. You want to know what? We've no, absolutely, but that's not going to change it. The fact that we keep getting back to revert to this is not going to change the fact that what we've got to know is a number of different options for a number 9 position as well that have all had their chance, more or less all failed. And it comes back to a guy who was in the periphery for a long time as well, whether it was injury or who knows what it was. But Iheanacho comes back in, and for the time that he was on the park last week as well, looked like that natural fit of number 9 that we needed. If you look back to cup finals last year as well, the fact that the kind of parts of the game that he was available, he looked like he was that option for us. So, Andy, the question I'm going to ask yourself is, going into these last games, and if we're saying that Martin O'Neill's then going to kind of whittle down that squad to who he needs and who he trusts, or maybe, again, I hate to say the need word as well, but who he wants and who he trusts, is Iheanacho for you that stick on number 9, or do you have a Svanchara that's maybe the starter, or somebody else, a Maeda?
Okay, I don't think we see enough goals, say Svanchara, and that's what we need, and I think the most likely to score is going to be Iheanacho as long as he's fit, and it's keeping him fit. That's the main issue. Yeah. It's keeping the guy fit. There's absolutely no doubt in his ability. He's very good. He's a very good player at the twilight of his career, albeit I suppose in a way.
Is he though? Is he only 28 or something?
Aye, but you just look at his career, the way it's, the trajectory is kind of going to be on the way down. How much we're going to get out of him, I really don't know. He was bought in Sevilla severed his contract just to get rid of him, so.
I know it's aye.
But he's shown a lot more. I mean, I was talking about stats earlier, and you look at the stats and they tell their own story. I think Iheanacho's actually impressed when he's been on the park more than what his stats would say so, He looks more likely to stick the ball in the back of the net. I think the position we're in, that the fact that we are saying he's the best striker at the club, is the fact that we're in a really bad position when it comes to recruitment. No, that there's absolutely no denying that. But he's here, and we've got to rely on the players we've got. You're talking about loyalty, Hoggy, and players, and who Martin trusts. I don't actually know who. I don't know if he knows who he trusts, if you know what I mean. I think, we're all over the place when it comes to a squad, and he's just picking at the moment, what he thinks. He's almost every game he's looking at the so-called system and going, right, how do I just get through this game and get a result? I don't think there's any preferences. He's just going with who's fit, who can do a job for us. I don't think it's down to loyalty. I don't think we've got a good enough squad, or a deep enough, or a fit enough squad to be picking and choosing, who you can rely on. I think we've just got to go with it then and now, one game at a time, and you might see a bit of change because of that, because Martin's opinion might change from one training session to the next, and depending who we're playing and the way they play and where they play and stuff like that.
Well, I've got a bit on my wee agenda as well to talk about squad, because tomorrow's game, I think there's certain squad positions that we are thin as a fucking big giant thin thing. So yeah, I want to come on that as well. So let's not touch too much on the individual choices for our squad at the moment. But Paul, can a quick one for yourself to kind of finish this one off before I go to the next point? But are you in agreement then that if fit and if available, that Kelechi Iheanacho is the one for us for the running?
100%. I mean, he's been a top performer in his career. You see, I keep going back to the St Mirren Cup final. He doesn't get injured. We didn't lose that game. I'm convinced he was running him ragged. It's the thing of keeping him fit. He's saying he is fit now, I believe. He's saying he wants to start games. I loved his reaction after his goal last week. I really liked that reaction when he had everybody around about him, and he was fucking seemed to be really heavily invested in it, which is always lovely to see. Very surprised, by the way, that they never looked at the push for the goal just before it. Not that I think it is enough to chalk the goal off, but for some things we've lost goals for. I was on a sweat for that, I'll no lie. So absolutely, it's all about these next 6 games. If you play in the actual and he is fit, that gives you a much, much bigger chance of winning this league. But there's also the chance that he comes off with a hammy or something like that. And I hate to seem really negative, but that's a fact. I like the shout, just before we move on, because he's mentioned it twice. I'm not sure who it was. Somebody said about the boy Barney Stewart for Falkirk. Like him a lot.
Yeah.
Centre forward, only getting better. He was only at Dunfermline, which I was quite surprised at because they didn't really go on with each other to be doing business. And Luke's a player, laddie. So whoever's made that shout, I think that's a decent shout. But aye, so good call. He's better than anything less in the actual that we've got at Celtic now by quite some distance, I would suggest.
But there is, and again, one of the things we'll kind of touch on when we get to the squad is the returning players, potentially returning players over the next few weeks as well, and what kind of difference to the dynamics and options that will go there. But there's two things I wanted. So before we jump onto the GB thing, I'm going to actually put this out there because I'd heard something or I'd seen something midweek. I don't know if the new is the right time to do it, but it's all.
A secret.
I just saw it. It's not the right time to do it, indeed.
So again, apologies. I've got a new laptop as well, but my Wi-Fi's still shite. But there
too much shite on it, Hoggy.
There's absolutely nothing on this laptop. The Wi-Fi might be actually clogged up with a few things, mind you. But hey, there was somebody that was basically saying that by going for the decision to bring Martin O'Neill back in to the club on the short-term basis to the end of the season, that Celtic have fried their summer campaign. So that basically the summer of what Celtic should be doing has been basically obliterated because we went for the option to bring Martin O'Neill back in that position that he was in. Now, again, depending on what your position is there, that it was the natural thing to do, I think, to come back to Martin to get that because he has a short-term option, because he was available, because he what he'd done the first time. But Andy, I'll come to you for this one. Do you think that the short-term nature of Celtic's decision to bring Martin O'Neill back in is going to prove an absolute cunt of a summer for us?
Aye, but I think that it was the only choice, and they end up, considering, well, certainly the first time, and then they made the absolute colossal mistake of bringing in Nancy. And you look at that now.
That's the worst ever decision in our history, Andrew.
It's Baz. Well, it's hard to.
Just after behind signing Scott McDonald.
I think it'd be very hard to beat. It'd be very hard to beat. Looking on exactly what's happened since then, and the points we dropped and the results we had was really quite embarrassing, to be quite honest with you, to be in that position. Yeah. And then you look at that debacle and think if it didn't happen, the position we would be in now. We wouldn't even be having a discussion about fighting the fixture list and all that. I don't believe so anyway. We'd already have a trophy in the cabinet if Martin had stayed for the whole season. I think you're seeing a totally different Celtic, but we've had so many changes this season. You've got all the stuff after the part to deal with as well. It's just been an absolute colossal disaster, I think. And we could end up at the end of the season with a double. So it is an actual reality that could happen. Very unlikely, I would say, considering the position we're in at the moment, but it's still possible. And if we go and win a double, what does that say to the board at the summer? Look at the state we're in, we can still go and win a double. So how much investment is actually required, It could actually go, being us winning this season we could go against us like you wouldn't imagine, because it would just give them a tick. It would just give the board a tick and encouragement into no investing which should be invested into a club.
Yeah. I think, Baz, I'll come to you for the next one. So just the point I'm making is that what Celtic should by putting Martin into that position, you're kind of buying time to make sure that the next decision that you make on your next permanent manager is going to be the right one. Now, we could all talk about trusting the powers that be in Celtic to actually make that decision and make everything kind of right there, but it relies on Celtic actually doing things behind the scenes that there's nobody really, apart from the Motherwell guy, but I think that all the folk that's basically putting him towards Celtic are just simply doing that as well to fan the flames, to put out kind of clickbait shite on the internet. But it's one of those things that it concerns me greatly. The fact that I don't trust, and I don't think anybody actually would as well, trust that Celtic board, given their performance recently, given the fact that they've not really brought in anybody that seems to be coming out and saying anything. That doesn't seem to be like the decisions they made to bring in the guy for Chelsea, which was it was a European scout or something like that as well. You've never really heard anything about that. And it just, do you think that Celtic have been kind of doing the hard work or doing the graft to actually go and look at what's next for us? Because waiting to the end of the season, because whether the option that they're looking for is if this happens as well, then an Neil and Fotheringham are the managerial team as well, which, not Neil, sorry, Maloney and Fotheringham are the managerial team. But it just fills me with a lot of dread. And I kind of seen the point the guys were making and thought, actually, that would be a really interesting thing to see what the guys think. That it could absolutely blow up our summer, because if you're going to wait for the first wee while, and bear in mind there's a World Cup on there, people are not going to be available because of that.
Yep.
Do you need to bring your manager in first before you do it? We're linked with players all over the place now as well. Why link with players, Christ knows? Because you've not got a manager in there that's doing it. You've not really got a recruitment department that you've got any confidence in to actually bring in the profile of player that we're kind of looking at. And why are you bringing in players if you've not got a manager there to actually give you the nod? Now, whether there is a manager sitting out there behind the scenes saying, actually, yeah, these are the ones, but that's all conjecture. Are you getting any confidence that Celtic are actually doing the right things behind the scenes?
Beauty is only a light switch away, Louise, eh?
No. Can I just say she's done really well. That's her back on her feet after her hip operation.
Good on you, Louise. Good on you.
That's Baz's back. She's back coming to say hello.
I'll need to come on and see how Louise is.
She's had a hip operation. Oh, like that. The guns are out there. The guns are out.
You know what to do with that stick.
Keep the guns for the Mola. Keep the guns away to the Mola.
I thought I was David Murray with a wig on.
But no.
I think you make great points, Hoggy, and I agree with you straight away. That do you have trust that they're doing it? No, I don't. I think there would be more evidence to suggest that they are actually doing something behind the scenes. And I know we don't get told much, Hoggy, but there doesn't seem to be a lot of movement behind the scenes. I was intrigued that the Motherwell manager turned up at a Celtic game, is it with Paul Lambert? But I think the managerial selection, Hoggy, is just the beginning. Because think of the number of players you're going to have a turnover of players that want to be. I think we've seen the last of the Hatatis and the Maidas, who like it or no, have been massive players for you in the past 3-4 years. So they're going to take a lot of money to replace. So I suppose for me, the eternal optimism in me is I'm hanging on to the Sean Maloney thing for Roberto Martinez. But to your point again, Hoggy, it's a World Cup year. So does that mean it's the tail end of June, before July, before you even get Martinez in the door? Then you're behind the 8 ball for the number of players that you're going to need as well, unless, and I'm trying not to laugh by saying this, unless the board have put something in play behind the scenes that these things are waiting to fall in place. No laughing at the back there. And do I trust that they're doing that? No, I don't. And the Martin O'Neill thing is looking more like a stopgap by every passing day, because when he walks away, which he will walk away with the double, there you go, cars to the flag to the mast, he will win the double because he's Martin O'Neill and he'll somehow pull it off. But that's just ripping the plaster, and it's the tip of the iceberg of it needs to happen in the summer, Hoggy, and it's going to be a massive, massive turnover.
The thing is, right, sorry to just jump in on that, because as weird as this sounds, again, it just ties in with the season, that for everything you say really negatively, you can counter that with a positive, and for everything positively, so you can counter with negatives. But just one of the mental seasons, right? The thing is that, I can't laughing at the back here, a fully functioning, normal board of directors who ken their job, I know, right? Put this right, no bother. You make a managerial appointment of note. My one is Martinez. I think that works for me because first of all he's managed at very good levels. He's done well at club. I've just wrote that down. Our Don Boyd for a point of discussion.
I've got that already, Paul. I've got that already.
I thought you were talking. He's managed one of the best football teams in the world for a long period of time in Belgium, and done well at major.
Portugal before that, Paul. Portugal before that.
Portugal the new? No, is it no Portugal the new?
Oh, sorry,
Aye.
Portugal. Yeah, Belgium before that.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Portugal the new. I don't keep an eye on international football, so I don't know how he's
And
doing.
Wigan. Don't forget Wigan.
Wigan, I know he won the FA Cup with Wigan. So and the thing is, Baz, right? We kind of touched on this on last week. We spoke about obviously the World Cup and all the rest of it. They've got fucking these phones, you've got computers, you've got Teams, you've got all sorts of forms of communication. This is where the Maloney link works for me because you've got somebody, right, Sean, what do you think of that player with blah, 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 right? And that's how it should, that shouldn't be a big stumbling block, the World Cup for me. Because there should be business be able to be done these days. And I touched upon it on no body with it was only the international game I've been at England, fucking Romania. And I remember Martin O'Neill was in the studio and he'd already been appointed the Celtic manager weeks before and he still continued with his television work. And technology's moved on a great deal since then and it didn't do him any harm. I mean, he'd obviously had a commitment to this, whatever he had, and he stuck with it. So he was working whilst being appointed the Celtic manager and there was deals going on. It's doable, It's doable. As I say, a functioning football club would have all this in place already. Again, let's not even remotely think we're a functioning football club because that's where we'll fall down. But Martinez for me is a shout. I've seen somebody saying Alec Neil again. Yeah. I've heard that myself. Did a great job at fucking Millwall, by the way, and consistently done decent jobs anywhere he's went. But for
Might
me,
even get Daniel Kelly back, Paul, if it's Millwall.
Well, but I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not kept up. The fuck knows how he's done. But no, Martinez is my shout, and I don't think it's too difficult a job. Maloney wouldn't get anywhere near the first job for me, Alistair. But working alongside Martinez, I think that would work. I would think.
Yeah, again, there's many different shouts out there as well. And again, we're getting into that kind of funny season now where you've had the Motherwell manager, you've had Alex Neil, you've had Martinez, there's folks shouting for Klopp. There's all sorts of names that's going to appear in there as well. And it's going to be, as I say, it is going to be that funny season, but it's just the season that we've got, what Celtic fans, and I'm saying that as myself, and I'm kind of including every single one of you in that, I think what Celtic fans are not expecting, and this might be actually to the board or the managerial kind of unit, and there's kind of opportunity then is that Celtic fans aren't expecting any drastic, quick decisions to be made. But what an opportunity for them. And again, that Paul said as well, counter every negative with a positive. We're not expecting that, but what an opportunity they've actually got to actually come out there, fucking all guns blazing against us and saying, you don't think we're capable? Boom, here you are. Here's your manager for next year as well. Before we even go to a World Cup, boom, here's the next signings we've got lined up for that. Imagine that would happen. Jesus.
Or my fear, Hoggy, is here's these two trophies we've just won again. What's the problem?
Mm-hmm. You go and fight my positivity with negativity, fuck's sake, Baz. Come on.
That's exactly what I said earlier on. That success could play against us this season because that's exactly right up their street to say, what's the problem here? You know?
If that's the case, if that is the case, that they then come back, if and when we do win that double, if they come back in and basically say, what's the problem here? Then we know we've got absolute incompetent chimps running our club because anybody with half a fucking brain, half a one functioning eye is able to see that Celtic Football Club, and it's one of the Typhoon's comments here. Let me just go back, 747. Where are you, Typhoon? There it is. Can you all agree Celtic is a club or a shite show just now as well? So, whatever happens internally, we don't get to see, right? And again, that again could be looked upon as something to hit them over the head with. There's no transparency at all in the club. But it's an opportunity for them as well. Let's look at the negatives turning into positives. If they actually did do that, or I'm not going to say when they did it as well, but do you think that would be, Andy, and I'll come to you for this one, do you think that would be something that if they did play a blinder very, very early on after posting these two trophies in and saying, you want to know what, we're not going to stop, there's no breaks here as well, we've won this league, we've won this cup double as well, we're not going to disappear for a couple of months as well until the new season starts, we're going to keep this going, and here you are, Celtic, here's your next manager for next year, which is an absolute superstar.
Aye, that's all well and good getting a manager in who's very capable, but what's the team behind him? Who's bringing in the players? See, this is what's to get all done in the background. All this work's got to get done. If I get confidence in this sport today, any of that right? No, I haven't. And that's why we are sitting where we are and why the fans feel the way they do about, because they are totally incompetent, no able to do their job. That is a frustration. You know, it's no entitlement, it's frustration, because we can clearly see the things that are going wrong in front of our very eyes as we sit and watch games, watching Celtic, and stuff going off, going on off the park as well. You're talking about bringing players in to replace other players. Players should be coming in to push other players on because they're going to take their place. Do you see any player coming into Celtic that's going to take the jersey off another guy, other than the fact that he's got to fill a jersey that's already empty in the first place? There's no push for competition at Celtic Football Club. We've not got good enough players to do it. I simply don't trust the people that are in charge. They're proven that they aren't capable of doing it. Change has got to be done there first. Then I've got to look at recruitment and get a real good system in place. Go modern. I know they can't get the Jamestown stuff, but there must be other ones out there. It's proven that it works. Go and do it. Yeah. Us as a club and the way we do things is get players in. Players have no hair, make a name for ourselves and make a bit of money on them. That is supposed to be the model that we work on. That's the only way it's going to work through analytics and statistics and not just the eye test. I don't know where else I was. What else did you ask me, actually?
Andy, can I just say about the analytics thing? And can I just say about that? Because I was watching, I think I made a comment about it in the chat. I was watching your man Alan Morrison on Axon the day. And he goes, as you know, he goes in depth into quite a lot of stuff, stats and all that stuff. You know, that sometimes cannot be my thing. But he did mention something quite interesting regarding the systems in place. I didn't profess to know fuck all about this type of thing, right? However, he clearly does. Some would argue too much, but he knows a lot about this. These, and he reckons it's not the systems that Celtic have got. It's just worse than that they've got access to the best whatever the fuck it is they look at. But they've just not got they've not got the quality staff to implement it, which I'll not come as any surprise to anybody. But I was always under the impression that the systems in place, I don't know what I expect this fucking thing to look like. Some mad computer that just spits out stats and players or something. I don't know what it is, right? Some sort of weird science stuff for me.
Paul, it's an Alexa Celtic use. Alexa, tell me a midfielder that costs less than £1 million.
Weird Science. What a movie that was, by the way. Weird Science, wasn't it?
Great. Anybody under 10 grand, anybody wants 10 grand a month, that will take them. So apparently, according to your man Alan Morrison, who, if you've listened to it, he does certainly know statistics. He certainly knows a lot about these types of things, and he reckons we've got all that. We're as good as anybody, but it's what the worst thing we could be, as we all know, it'll be a shock to anybody, that the people in place to then implement that into the next, and that could go for the whoever watches this stuff or whatever happens with it, right through to the actual having to pay for the fucking player that you actually look at. There, that's where it's fallen down.
Paul, I don't understand that. How can we have a system in place when we're bringing in players with stats that are unrecognisable for somebody that's going to be a success in our team?
Because you're going to be sorry, probably because you're going for your second and third choice, because your first choice is costing a bit too much money. The second choice is costing still a wee bit too much money. So then you're scraping about at the bottom of the barrel. That's what I think anyway. He knows as much as the Rangers are, but how Celtic works for fuck it says. I presume that's sarcasm, Stiflers. I'll take that as I don't know, mate. I don't know.
I think he's talking about Alan Morrison rather than you, but I don't think he's having that.
No, I know that. I know, of course. I know something like that would never be fucking aimed at somebody like myself.
I just touching on the manager here. I've already said my choice, and it's Jens Bertascu that I want. I just think that look what he's done with the type of player at Motherwell. Pretty ordinary players, all of them. Yeah. And he's also got a few good players in there as well. I just think that if we invest properly in proper quality, what kind of tactics and training can he put into their heads to get them amazing football? So that would be my choice.
Certainly wouldn't be adverse to that, Andy, if that was how it came.
Never catch on.
Yeah, it's certainly a conversation that's going to continue. Now, obviously, and I think it was Jim Irvin basically said there that he only cares about can he winning tomorrow. And again, absolutely, Jim, as well. But what we want to do is just kind of spark a wee bit of debate and a wee bit of kind of opinion on things. And that will be something that runs on for the next few weeks, because the closer Celtic get to either progressing and winning the league, or the closer Celtic get into absolutely shiting in their own horns again, it is going to then highlight what's going to be required for Celtic. And I think, Andy, you're right. It's no simply just going to be a manager that comes in and fixes all ills. I think that there's going to have to be a real deep-rooted clear out and start again.
It's a huge job in the summer or before then, definitely.
And I think that there's been discussions or there's been rumours about the Dermot Desmond is going to be doing that with the executive group as well.
Is that why he's getting the statue outside the stadium? Fuck
if he does do something drastic and sacks that board as well, then that might be actually leading the cause for a fucking Dermot Desmond statue.
Jesus Christ.
I joke, of course. But what I want to kind of do is just jump onto another couple of points that's kind of raised their head this week. And Paul, you mentioned about kind of making a note of this point here as well, that Willie Hawley has come out and he's back in a kind of season ticket renewal campaign as well, where he's now got Paul McStay as the figurehead of that campaign as well, which we've had our conversations about Paul McStay and the legacy of Paul McStay and what Paul McStay means to ordinary Celtic fans like ourselves.
Yeah,
the man has pledged, I don't know exactly the mechanics of this as well, but for every 10,000 Celtic supporters that sign up to his, whatever it's called, he's going to donate £2 million. Now, 50,000 of the season ticket holders then can sign up for this campaign as well. It means that there's going to be a war chest of £10 million donated from Willie Hawley that's going to be used to buy Celtic shares. Now, you've got the Celtics, the Celtic Supporters Limited, which again, what's the guy's name, Andy?
David Lowe.
David Lowe, fucking lost it. They absolutely lost it. Him and his group are then going again down that financial route as well of trying to raise capital in order to actually buy their way into Celtic.
That's a really long-term plan there, because they're trying to gather up pretty much the same way David Lowe did in 1993-94. You know, these kind of dead shares. So we're also in the same situation with the shares, where they're maybe being passed on to different family members or whatever, and they're almost closer away. I think they're trying to go down that route, which takes a long time and a lot of money as well, remember.
The point I'm trying to make, though, is that the Celtic Supporters Collective is also looking at that, the recent meeting that they had as well was also looking at that way of trying to get some sort of mechanism started up there that's going to look at those shares. Now, the concern that I have, I want you first of all at your opinions on Willie Hawley. Barry, I'll come to you first for this one. But the concern is that you're going to have then different vehicles that's actually kind of getting onto the road for this stuff. And it's like, where do you actually put your luggage? What motor do you actually put your luggage in as well? What one are you backing? Because Willie Hawley's basically seems as if it's basically just a grant for him or a gift for him that he's going to basically have those £10 million of shares there. But with businessmen as well, there's always something sitting at the back of that as well, which is like, right, what does that actually mean when that money's spent as well? So he said that he's going to have, I think, 5 trustees or 5 members of the sign up as well that's going to be trustees, and one of those trustees will be the chair of the group. Again, is that just going to be random run-of-the-mill people? Is that going to be people that's got the experience of doing that? Is it going to be volunteers that goes in there? There's a whole load of different things, but I just want your opinions, first of all, on that pledge of up to £10 million that he's got to put in there. And then the other vehicles that's actually going to try to go down that same route of, we're clearly not able to kind of get a sledgehammer into Celtic and knock the place down. I suppose the collective is trying to kind of do that now, is trying to kind of force an issue or force resignations, which hasn't clearly worked. So it's then going down a different route of the financial game. But do you think that there's too many people going to be actually involved in this now for it to confuse?
I take you back to that picture at the New Year derby when the board were all sitting in one row and the Willie Hawkeys of this world were sitting directly behind them, and I thought visually there was something in that, Hoggy. To your point, I can't quite put my finger on what the aim of Willie Hawkey is. I mean, he's done some lovely things in the past. God rest him, Jimmy Johnston, with the Fabergé egg thing, and yet he's always kind of been there. But what is he actually doing? And to your point is, again, Hoggy, he's a businessman, so he's not doing this for nothing. I heard, is it the Old Chums Act? I'm not entirely convinced he is an old chum of Dermot Desmond, who somebody referred to as Fritz, so that's hilarious. I think it was James Wiper. So I'm kind of, yeah, I read into it today, Hogan, and to be honest, the main thing that came out it was Paul McStay. But you've got it spot on, Hogan. Everything you've said is accurate, and everything you said is correct. But what does it mean? I don't know, and the pessimist in me says, you aren't doing this for nothing. You're talking £10 million. Yes, you're a very wealthy laddie. Yes, we all know you're a Celtic fan. But I just think that visual of all the folk behind him was symbolic in some way, which I'm hoping is going to...
But so symbolic in what way? So you're saying it looks symbolic, but you're not really giving us what that symbolic gesture is. Is that the fact that they're backing the leadership, or is that the fact that they are forming their own thing?
They might be trying to muscle their way in. I just think it was two. There's one group and there's another. I just think that's really powerful, and I don't know if that's the wishful thinking in me. But I think, well, my own opinion, nothing to back it up. I think he's now trying to elbow his way in some way, Hoggy, which would be my hope, because we need to overturn this board in some way. Sorry, Franny, I know Franny likes me doing the horn thing. But I can't quite put my finger on him. Yeah. If you know what I mean, lads.
I do, Bhoys.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. And I think Terrace sorry, Bhoys, were you going to go in there, or is it all right, mate? Because when I watch it back, I look at him and say, "Shut the fuck up."
No, Paul, perfect time to interject, mate.
I've cut in so many times. I've cut in so many times on folk. I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to. I like this guy's or girl's Talk Terrace TV TikTok podcast. I'll go on that, by the way. Some really good points. And I think one of the things, it's a bit people's front of Judea, isn't it? It's a bit like all these different wee groups do. The thing is, what concerns me slightly, I mean, I think there's a lot of positivity, kind of ties in with the whole season again. There's a flip side to it as well. But the thing is, David Lowe and Hockey will know each other really, really well. They'll know their workings really well. They'll know their objectives really well. They'll know themselves inside out. As will probably Janet Finlay as well. So you've got these three groups that all seem to want roughly the same thing.
Yeah.
But I couldn't really throw myself behind any of them. It was always a trust for me because I like Jeanette and I like the way she's stuck up for the supporters and the offensive behaviour bill and all that stuff. So that would probably be who I would be drawn to most. But there, she's clearly, and the trust is clearly not going to have as much power as something that Willie Hawkey's behind. And I think bringing Paul McStay in could be looked at numerous ways. And the way I'm looking at it as much, I don't think McStay would get involved in something just to be used, basically, because I think he's too smart for that. So I'm kind of, even as I'm saying this, I'm kind of edging towards there must be some. I've actually changed I've changed my mind in the last. It's ADHD. My fucking head just goes like fuck, and I think that anything that McStay's thrown his cell into or been involved in, what he will have done due process, I would absolutely imagine. And obviously, it's a good move for Willie Hawkey to getting somebody that pretty much I saw everybody certainly here, a lot watched, and even the young team that McStay will be like the Lisbon Lions. I've never seen them, but they've heard all the stories. Ken, they'll know how big a impact having somebody like Paul McStay on board is. So it is a wee bit, and James has gone down that road. There's a wee bit manipulation maybe, but I don't think the maestro would allow himself to be manipulated. And I don't think Willie Hawkey would manipulate a Celtic legend either, by the way. Yeah. For all he has his faults and work capacities and the unions and all that stuff. But this issue separately, he's not going to, I don't think, even remotely try and manipulate somebody like Paul McStay for his own benefits. So I'm tending to go towards Willie Hawkey. I don't know what he's really up to, but I don't think he would be doing anything particularly untoward.
Yeah.
They didn't, Robert. I know I found that out, which is really disappointing for somebody of my persuasion. It's really poor. Pals, was there no float with him though when he was on the board the last time? Hawkey and Desmond, I'm sure there was.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So listen, if you're giving me a choice, Willie Hawkey and Baz, I'll finish on this because I think it's absolutely, it was so poignant, that photo that you mentioned at that game, where it was like a line, the front line was full of fucking has-beens and never-beens. And the folk behind them, who, apart from Willie Hawkey, I didn't have a fucking clue because it's no world that interests me. But the fact of the matter is, it's important to a football club. And
they should one of the big swords now, like a ghoul. It's as if they were standing behind them saying.
Very much so, Baz. But somebody explained to me who everybody was. It was one better person at whatever job they were doing after the next. It was, he's in charge of that. And it's a world I despise personally, but it's important in modern football. And no seem to be Celtic men as well. So, here's hoping
the bus, the pinnacle.
Aye, it was kind of like that. So here's hoping that's where it goes. I don't think Willie Hawkey would be raising this again and getting Paul McStay involved if there was the movement to expect something pretty soon for me. I think it could be.
I think it's another one of those ones that as the season progresses and as we get into the summer, when you get the renewal notices and stuff like that coming out as well, you'll start to see people ramp up. And again, the Terrace TV TikTok as well, it was talking there that you've got the collective as well, which is looking for a commitment. I think it's £10 a month of players to kind of build up a kitty there. You've got the Celtic Supporters Limited that's looking at, there's different levels that you can put into as well. You can buy a lifetime membership for like $5,000 or something like that, and whatever it is, there's different levels of it there. But again, I think you're right, Paul. One of the points that you were kind of making there is that these people are not known to each other. These people are very known. Like David Lowe and Willie Hawkey as well are not going to be kind of strangers by any means as well. And it's like, is there a world that we as Celtic supporters can actually kind of fight back and say, actually, you want to know what? There's too many options here. Again, there's too many options as well, which is going to divide the actual whole point of what we're trying to do. There needs to be one vehicle, and there needs to be trust in that one vehicle. But again, I'm not going to get into kind of that tonight as well. That's something that we'll kind of touch on as the weeks come across and as I get closer. Do you not think
it could, because there is so many kind of avenues to go down, different vehicles to jump on, that it could almost dilute the process that's actually aimed to take place.
That's the point.
It's almost it's weakening the case when it's it's putting too many loops on a door is going to weaken it overall.
Exactly the point I'm making.
That's the way I look at it. Aye.
Too many chefs spoil the broth. Too many options as well.
Can I just pick up
options to make a wrong decision?
Yeah, Steffler's dad there's put up about Jockstein refused the right hand.
I knew you were going to hone in that.
I don't think that's strictly true. Unfortunately, it was overlooked for a knighthood, and Robert Kelly got it. I don't.
You can't get it posthumously, so that's why.
I don't think, unfortunately, given Big Jock's background and all the rest of it, that would have been an issue.
He wasn't of the correct type. Was that?
Aye, exactly. How dare an ex-minor, the son of an ex-minor. So Bob Kelly steamed in and done what the snide would do, which for me is a bonus because I wouldn't like to refer to Jockstein as Sir Jock. But I don't think that was necessarily the case. I think he would have got that. He would have took that. That was anyway. Leave it at that.
I've missed the Pablo.
Yeah, but no, listen, just to say, agree, there's a lot of folks saying about too many cooks and all that stuff. I absolutely agree. Just get together, get what I mean? And
I think, Paul, that's what's causing the confusion, is that, you know, there's so many different opinions getting put out and vehicles driving different directions, that people are confused as to what one day I jump on, what day I go away. There's not enough information about it.
Yeah.
I think Willie Hockey's, I mean, again, I'll always have an issue with the fucking Lord thing. Of course, I fucking will. Absolutely right. But we live in a world where that's fucking how it is in football. If you want, if I said that before, if you want principles, then you're fully in the wrong fucking sport. Okay, what I mean? Let's be absolutely honest. And loyalty and all these important things to us. But if you're wanting that all the time in football, then forget it. You're in the wrong game. At all, so you've got to go with what you've got. And hockey, as much as that will always be a stain, how anybody, I just didn't understand how anybody felt working class, but for anybody, specifically working class, sorry, Baz, can think even slightly appropriate for these monsters, paedophile monsters down in London, to think that they somehow have the right to bestow anything on anybody. Okay, I mean, get yourself to fuck, man. But anyway, if I can put that aside,
let's get off that. Let's get off that as well. We'll come back to that in another day.
If I can put that aside,
don't feel me anymore. Jesus Christ!
Then I think hockey is still the best bet.
Again, we will revert back to that conversation as more information becomes available to us, the normal fans.
You're not shutting me up, son. You're not shutting me up.
I'm certainly not planning to, mate. I'm kind of just going to haunt you on.
Anyway, Paul,
I'm waiting for a summer. But what I wanted to just go through is that there was a recent meeting of the Celtic supporters, or the Celtic Fans Collective, sorry. And I just wanted to kind of read off the main points of the meeting as the notes come through. So regarding season tickets and home cup ticket scheme, so it was broadly agreed that there was little or no desire for any season ticket boycott. So in regards to like Not Another Penny campaign, as we spoke about before, does that include season tickets? And I think the large agreement was that there's not any desire for us to go doing that. Now, there will be people as well that's made their own decision up to actually not renew their season ticket, and fair play to them. But I think as the Celtic Fans Collective is not going to be pursuing that as part of that. The widespread agreement to delay the renewals until the final day of the deadline. So that could cause a bit of panic as well, because imagine 50,000 people actually just hijacking that in the last day. There's going to be fucking mega issues.
Yes, it's going to crash.
Absolutely. Significant concern about home cup ticket scheme with told is related to the ability to pay instalments for European matches and the impact on wider CSC allocations for Hampden. So again, being part of the home cup ticket scheme means that you are part of the away kind of registration. You're part of the allocation for tickets for Hampden, and removing yourself from that as well, you're not going to get fucking anything. So I think that there's been a concern about that. So the decision has been deferred on the home cup ticket scheme until Celtic's European competition is confirmed in the summer. The Not Another Penny campaign, a strong endorsement to continue and intensify the boycotts of club merchandise. The campaign has been an overwhelming success. Decision around Sorry?
That new zipper to the Not Another Penny.
Decision around widening the campaign to target select club sponsors, and then with new merchandise to be launched within the next few weeks, agreed to leaflet a select home match outside supporters in Queen Street stores to engage with wider supporters who may not be aware of the campaign. The Celtic app and data privacy as well, I'm not going to touch on that one as well. Match day actions. Widespread agreement that while the team is involved in the title race, any match day actions must be scaled back to allow supporters to fully focus on helping the team over the line. Should the title hopes fade, agreement to review this as the season draws to a close. And many suggestions of large-scale visual protests similar to Firhill in the season, but acknowledge that this requires financial resources the collective doesn't currently have. Collective has currently got £2,400 in the bank. Collective structure and fan representation. Proposal for federal representative structure allowing varied supporter groups and individuals to participate. Proposals were handed out to attendees. These were tidied up and emailed to signatories in the coming weeks, and all signatories will have the opportunity to influence and shape the structure of the collective. The Green Brigade ban has been lifted. The communications part of it, finance and AGM, again, I'm not going to get that stuff. That's kind of boring for that, but that's generally what the main points of the more recent Celtic Fans Collective meeting has been. And it answers a few questions for me where, There's been the successes, which is the Not Another Penny campaign. With regards to club merchandise, they made that pretty clear. There's been a clear differentiation made of the actual season ticket process, and the money going to the club for season tickets is not part of, or it's a concern that should not be part of the Not Another Penny campaign. So, gentlemen, just a very, very quick thing. Is there anything in there for you guys as well that is a red flag or a concern, or is that stuff that, with the direction of travel of the Fans Collective, that's what you expected to see?
I'd like a 24-hour lift on the Not Another Penny campaign to attack the new Adidas hoggy. That's the only thing I'd say, because that's killing me. But anyway, no, listen, mate, summed that up perfectly. As always, perfect input, full of detail. Nothing for me, big man. Nothing that jumped out as in like red flags or anything like that, Andy.
Just touching on the Not Another Penny campaign, I'm with Baz as well. Some of the stuff is just, it's very hard. It's very hard. But if we're hurting, just imagine where it's doing to the club when there's that many people dying to get merchandise and determined not to do it. That shows you how determined people are to get change at the club. And that's only probably a minimal impact on the club. It could be a lot worse, So they're very fortunate. They're still in a position they're up when it comes to the fans, because if the fans really want change, and I've said it for the start, you hit them with fucking everything that you've got and you don't stop till something's done. That would be my avenue. But the problem with that is that then the team gets damaged and, you're cutting your nose off to spite your face.
Yeah.
I back it 100%. And I think, the collective has done a lot of work here. People seem to think that Hoggies come in and, the collective are all bad and all that kind of stuff. I've seen plenty of opinions with that, and that is not the case. There's been a lot of people behind the scenes putting a lot of work into the best thing to do. It was always going to be a try and error thing. Nobody knew how things were going to work out. And people saying, "What did you go and do that for and that for?" But that's the decisions that have been made. There's been individuals picked out that's going to speak for everybody. It's part of the collective, and whether you're part of the collective, as in what they call fan media or whatever you want to call it, or a blogger or whatever, this should all come down to, every fan should have a say here, and that's the most important thing. Let's not forget anybody.
Agree, mate. And again, Terrace TV, TikTok podcast as well. The collective charge £10 per member per month. I don't think that's totally set up for everybody yet as well. I think that's the plan, is to go down that route as well, of looking at £10 per member of that. But certainly it's not something that I've seen from the communications from the group as well about that's actually in place just now. I think the funds have been accumulated from kind of different sources, whether that's just sort of one-off donations and stuff. I don't think that's all set up just now. But again, it's only my voice and my opinion as well. I could be totally wrong with that as well. But I think you're right to question it. But I don't think that £10 per member per month has been set up for everybody that's in there. And even at that as well, I don't think everybody would probably... would actually, I don't think it's a mandatory thing. I think it is going to be, again, something like a choice, like the CSL is, and like the kind of season ticket initiative is. But anyway, gentlemen, we will move on past that as well. We have got a very, very big game tomorrow, Andy, and that is obviously at home, last game before the split, which could be a really, really good game to actually get ourselves 3 points on the board pretty quickly, because Hearts and Rangers have got pretty tough games. Hearts play Motherwell and Rangers play away to Falkirk tomorrow. So this could be a great opportunity to kind of strike while the iron's hot. And I think one of the things that's a positive about the fixtures, the way they fell, is that Celtic actually played before Rangers/Hearts on a couple of those occasions as well, which again is the bias that Celtic has in the SFA or SPFL, whatever it is.
Yeah,
but
running the show, apparently.
Yeah, exactly. But regards to
course,
tomorrow,
we don't run Scottish football. We own Scottish football. There's a difference.
Still get your hand in, Paul.
With regards to tomorrow, Andy, with regards to tomorrow, is there anything that you're expecting to see differently about tomorrow's game? Is because we know that the Green Brigade actually, I've not spoken to the Green Brigade, so there we are.
You can mingle it into the one here.
Yes,
I think the difference is you're going to see the GB coming in and making their voices heard, because they've been missed for a long time, and I think it's going to add to the atmosphere. And I think, hopefully, fingers crossed, I'm pretty sure, pretty confident that it's going to push the team on to victory. And I think, honestly, the way I'm looking at it now, it's just one game at a time, and that game comes, at Celtic Park when they're back in again and pushing the team on and just get the victory. That's all that I'm concerned about. I actually don't care about performances. It'd be good to get a few goals. The question is whether they're coming for it. I don't care as long as they get enough to win the game. That's all that I care about. And I think that the stadium's going to have a right, to quote the maestro, there's going to be a buzz about the place,
I
So,
knew you were going to throw that.
yes, well, I'm glad I got my say first because I bet you were going to say it.
On that one, on the statement, there was, again, I've not got the statement up as well, so if anybody's got it, please quote it or whatever. But I read the Green Brigade statement as well about the ban being lifted and about their recommendations for Celtic and to make sure that none shite happens again. But they very, very much made the distinction that this is not just going to be a GB thing. This is the fact that obviously the GB are going to be there as well, but regardless where you sit, regardless what you do, regardless what age you are, it's a requirement of all Celtic supporters basically to push the team over the line. This is not the Green Brigade that's going to push Celtic over the line. It's going to be
they spark it. They've always been there to start that fire. Then it gets the atmosphere going, and that tends to push a team on. And if you see the team performing, it pushes the crowd on even more, and it gathers momentum.
It does, but also, how many times have you been to Celtic Park as well, where it's only the Green Brigade that's actually doing that stuff? And again, I think the nature of the games were said. The fact that every game has got that level of importance as well, that I think you're going to see the 4 games at Celtic Park and the SPFL, that it's going to be a very much increased atmosphere for what we've actually seen this season so far. So, Paul, I'll bring you in this one because obviously you are very much a champion of the Green Brigade and you have championed that very, very well over the case there. Is there any, and again, I don't want to be that one as well that puts the negative to the positive, but is there anything for you that you see as a negative of this, or is this basically every single box is ticked for positive, we're getting them in at the right time, or it should have been earlier, but we're getting them in for the run into the season, tick box, it's going to lift the place, tick box, it's going to lift the players, tick box, it's going to lift Hampden, tick box. Is there anything in there that you would see as potentially but hold on a wee second here?
I think, and just at that point, I'm a great guy. So a bit of self-publicist as well, apart from a great guy. I'm a great guy. Says the Green Brigade, hopefully the Green Brigade don't do anything to jeopardise their return. The board will be desperate. That's pretty much what I was just going to say. That my only concern is that you're dealing with a group of supporters, and that will always kind of be on the edge of things. I know there's been meetings and there's been agreements reached, but I'm not talking with the Green Brigade as a group of we're football supporters. We didn't tend to always do what we're told across the board. And my only concern is that this board, everything you've said, Hoggy, will happen the more. I think the atmosphere will be great the more. I actually fully expect, without giving anything away about my predictions, I fully expect a good performance the more. I think it's time to put in a really good performance and result. And I expect that the more. No soul to do with the Green Brigade, but I just think everything feels a bit more positive, as I said at the start. Everybody does say their part to play. For Andy, that's 100% correct, but Andy's spot on. As we've always said, the Green Brigade's not the be and end all by any matter of means. By any matter of means. They're no more important than any set of supporters, buses, groups, whatever you want to call it. But as we've spoken about the actual physics of just how it works, in an all-seater stadium, you just physically need an area of the ground to start the singing. We've seen how bad it's been in their absence. So that's going to happen tomorrow. And it's going to have, well, you're right, Hoggy. There's been many games where it's no caught on. I think with 6 games to go in the season, I think it absolutely will at every home game. My only fear is, the only negative is the kind of eggshells thing that the board will be looking. They'll see. They didn't. The group. Listen, the board didn't want. This board didn't want the Green Brigade in the ground. Let's be fucking honest. Or they done it ages ago. How it's happened, they knew. I think it's fairly obvious. They know that the amount of shit that would really come their way if knew they're in a position if we didn't win the league. Well, it wasn't our fault for banning supporters, even though it's been for the majority of the season. So my only fear is what I'm a great guy, which I love that amount of confidence in your own name. But I'm a great guy, he says that obviously it is that thing about, I wouldn't use the term behave, but there's always going to be an element you're just one wrong move away from being back doing this road again. That's
and that's why I was kind of no mentioning anything as well, but almost just throwing that in there that so I don't want to say this is a trial run for it as well, but there'll certainly be eyes upon everything, and all it takes is for one stupid laddie as well to actually say a dead or anything as well to then not actually prove the Celtic board right as well, but to certainly make the transition for them back.
Maybe you more a Baz if you hang on at the end of this. If you hang on at the end, Baz, maybe.
I can't wait to text you how many minutes have been added on at 90 for the stadium to let you all know that me and Hoggy are still there and say that's 4 minutes added, lads.
Right.
We can find out for the pub as well, Barry. But no, we have made the pledge as well that we are at basically 90 minutes tomorrow.
See, just touching on the atmosphere, Hoggy. See, you think about it. Obviously, having a GB back in, and the atmosphere being better overall, that could be the difference to a player turning with the ball and passing it back away, or a player turning with the ball and passing it forward and creating a goal for that situation rather than putting yourself in danger. The crowd can do that. Is how important it is.
From a supporting point of view, from getting the team, the atmosphere, there's no negatives. There's no negatives at all to this whatsoever. I'm sure.
Do you think it's been more tactical, Paul?
100%, Buzz.
And I wouldn't, negatives too strong, call me cynical. Have they just thought to themselves, do you know what? Let's just take absolutely everything as an advantage, Paul. Do you think that played a part in it?
I think what plays a part in it, Baz, if you're talking about the tactical part, I presume you mean for the board.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of what I said there the new is that now, even though you tend to find in modern society in general, but certainly in football capacity, as we're discussing, that people have very short attention spans and very short memories. How bad things have been and whose cause has caused this 100%. And I think what they'll be thinking is we've let them in now, right? They're probably Hargreaves is probably fucking smashed his head against the wall as we speak. Yeah. Angry at this, right? I fucking hate him. But he's probably banging his. I hope he is actually really, really sore. What's that?
That's a classic.
By the way, it probably will be. I'll be very surprised. I'll be very surprised if it's no, and I'll be singing it with gusto, joining in. But it will be that. That's exactly what it will be. The more I think. What was I saying there? I'm away again. I'm away off on one, and I can't remember where the fuck I was.
Tactical, allowing them in every.
Yes, Baz. So, say for example, we didn't win the league, right? If the Green Brigade weren't there from the whole right through the duration of the journey, then I think there would genuinely be an explosion of anger amongst a lot of the support. I think what they've done, the board, is they've relied on this short-termness people in general these days. They were in anyway, so that still didn't make a difference, even though they were only in for like four home games. They were in, and it still didn't make a difference. So
can I ask you, Paul? See, under the circumstances at the games they've missed, are they going to be reimbursed for the games that they've not been allowed in?
I think they've been told yes. I think they've been told they will be aye.
Okay. There's a pro rata agreement as well that they'll be reimbursed.
I'm very surprised if they didn't give that to. They'll probably no name. They'll probably get it. Telling them what I paint them again as fucking heroes here, but I'll probably go to charity of some sort. Baz, did that answer your question? Is that kind of what you're getting at? Right, mate. I think we're on the same page here.
Paul.
Right, son.
So, Paul, let's have a wee look then at our predictions for tomorrow. And I don't really want to get into the team stuff as well because we've kind of spoke a wee bit too much as well. But I think that the big concern for me tomorrow with regards to the team is right back. We've got 3 right backs, or we've got 4 right backs at the club and 3 of them are injured. Araho potentially probably has played his last game for the club this season, whether there's any kind of truth to rumours that Celtic are going to go after him. You've got Kobe Donovan as well that's nursing an injury which is not looked upon as long term. Alistair Johnson was back on the grass today, back in training.
I thought he was out for the rest of the season. What the fuck's going on?
He taken part in training today, and Martin O'Neill said basically that it looked good. There was no ill effects of it. and a good week's training on it as well, you might see him being available for that. And that's what they're saying as well with the returning players. Callum Osman as well, there was talk about him as well getting back on the training pitch, looking decent
the grass.
on the training pitch as well. There's back on the grass,
back in the building and on the grass.
But so there, and this is a laddie that Martin O'Neill gave the opportunity to, and he absolutely taken that opportunity.
Do you know what Hoggy? He gives you excitement. You know, he wants to drive forward with the ball, and you know he can score a goal. So it's only good.
Yeah.
Can I just?
Robert's saying there as well that you could play KT in the right and Sriracha in the left. What I'd probably suggest is the other way about. I think Sriracha more loaded as the fullback that can probably do both flanks on that. So I'd probably say you're absolutely right there, Robert. But I'd probably say that Sriracha would be the one that you'd see on the right rather than KT, because KT again is all left fit.
All left.
Sorry, I jumped in on you there. What were you saying?
No, two things. First of all, the fullback thing. I mean, Danny McGrain was for a while the best right back in the world, and
played left back for Scotland.
Sandy Jardine got to play in his position for Scotland, and Danny McGrain went and done an equally as fine job, I'm led to believe, because I didn't really watch Scotland as much. At left back, I remember Tom Boyd falling in at right back and forward. Even though he was very much a left back. So I think that's doable. But I was going to come back to Craig McLean's, but again, it's gone back to Green Brigade. I'm sorry to go back to that, but I think he makes a really good point, which I think answers a lot of questions there. It's there. Craig McLean, they only let the GB back in because it became public. The Rotten Mob told the charge thing, they weren't behind banning that Union Bears mob. I think there's a lot of truth in that, Craig McLean. I really do, because Celtic were hiding behind this safety advisory group, weren't they? Then when they advised the Huns to close down a whole section of the stadium, which in 5 minutes done worse than the Green Brigade's ever done in their 20 years, firing things into the opposite crowd, attacking police, attacking stewards, attacking members of our team, again on the pitch. And fuck all happened about that. Now, I'm no one for, they fucking scumbags, they can do what they want. I wouldn't expect any less for them. So when it comes to punishment, I'm no one for banning them and all that shit. But I think Craig's spot on with that. I think that's played a huge part in it, and I forgot to mention that. I think you're spot on. I think that publicly embarrassed them.
Especially if you breach the barriers yourself. I don't know, Paul. I don't know.
Some would say Baz, but there's the I may have ventured into that area of the pitch, but
there is a consultant that's been appointed in order to lead the investigation into the issues that happened there. So again, I would expect later down the line as well something to come from that. I don't think that certainly the Scottish football can leave that be as it is. So I think you'll probably see that there's going to be something that will come from that.
No, that's not the point, Hoggy. I think the point is that Celtic were hiding behind the sage at that SAG mob.
I know. Again, that was again. I was making a different point for that one, mate. That was the making trying to come on that. But Paul, let's get back. So, regards to predictions tomorrow as well, is there any kind of sort of player that you're going to see tomorrow? Any formation you're going to see tomorrow? And what's your score for tomorrow?
Oh, mate, I've gave up fucking trying to work out formations and teams a long time ago. So I'm going to steer clear of that. I'm going to go for just with the airy positivity. I think it all started with Baz being back on the night when I flicked on and Baz was there. I'm not saying enough about that, Baz. You've been missed greatly, mate, and it's lovely to see you back.
Love you, Dad. Love you.
And I ken you do too, Andy.
Oh, of course.
That bromance.
An absolute Jamie, man.
Absolutely. So that just put a smile on my face and added to my positivity. But and that's continued through the show. And I think we're going to get. I'm not going to quite go 5-0 up at Tannadice. Was it you, Hoggy, went 5-0 at Tannadice, or? Sorry to bring it up.
I just forgot about that.
Sorry to bring it up, Hoggy. Me and Andy did mention it in the show we did ourselves. We've all done it, mate. We've all done it. But I'm going to go in heavy the Mora. I'm going to go for 4-0 the Mora. Oh, there we go, Mark Kieran. Great minds. I'm going to go 4-0, and I'm going to go for a good, solid performance. Because I'm starting to see Oxley Chamberlain first half last week. I thought it was really, really good. He's passed his qualities here for what he's see. I'm seeing positive things in this Celtic team, and I'm going to go 4-0 the Mora, which puts us nicely into the home straight. And are really positive. We've got the cup game, obviously, the following week to get that wee break, take that wee breather, and then we go all in for the last 6 games.
Job, fuck off. I hope you're at it, mate. I hope you're
Of
at it.
course he is. He's a fucking prick.
Andy, what about yourself for tomorrow, brother? What are you thinking?
I'm going to go 2-0 Celtic. I'm going to go Yang and Iniacho to score. I would love to be confident that we're going to score more goals.
Okay,
but I'm
Andy, come
just
on,
not sure where they're going to come from. But that's two I fancy to score. If
Andy,
Iniacho plays, then he'll score. And I fancy Yang.
Are you available tomorrow?
Available?
Yes.
But for?
Are you free around about 3 o'clock?
Oh, surprise.
I might be.
Right, I'll give you text after, right?
He's
Can we
just
stay on
watched
for a
it.
minute after it, actually? Just can we all stay on
Yeah,
for a
do I
minute?
need to bring the lube?
Always, mate. Always.
That's all right, because I thought it was just Baz. I thought it was just Baz that done that. Right,
No,
no
mate,
worries.
no.
It's obviously a bus thing.
So what are you thinking score-wise tomorrow, mate?
Me, 2-0. 2-0. I said Yang and Iniacho to score, so I'll go 2-0. Aye.
Baz, what about yourself, brother?
I think you asked the question, who are you going to see tomorrow? I think you see Ralston tomorrow, Hoggy.
Yeah.
I like James Allen Wiper's shout that Sriracha on the right, but I think he'll put Ralston in at right back.
I agree with you, Baz. I actually wrote that down. I think you're right there.
I'm not going to get carried. I think just the time of the season, it might be a bit stuffy. I'll go with a 3-1. I'm going to go with a 3-1, and I think Iniacho is going to notch. And I think he's genuinely, me and you agreed on that. I think it was a pals chat last Sunday, Hoggy. I think Iniacho's going to be the key the rest of the season. A fit Iniacho, a goal a game ratio, wins you the league.
Yep. Robert Forbes there as well. Suggestion again, that's something that again, podcast member of the year, he talking about us, and again, I think that's a vote that we can't really make ourselves. So again, we're happy to do that stuff. We can do that on the socials and things like that as well. But yeah,
you're allowed to vote for yourself.
Thanks, Baz.
Fun things like that. Absolutely. Any option or any suggestions for anything you guys want us today, please get them in via email.
As long as it's no taking our taps off. Jesus Christ. We're doing that road again.
I'm glad I missed that. I'm glad I missed that era. I'm glad I missed that era.
I'll go for a 3-0 tomorrow. I think it will be again a strong performance for Celtic. I think it will be a strong performance all around the run. St Mirren are no mugs. They've not done the kind of same thing this season as they've done in previous seasons. But I expect on the back of everything that's been in there, I expect Celtic to start showing the mettle that they need to in this. There you are, brother. Good man. Good man. So, yes, I think you'll start to see the start of the Celtic posting up and the reset of the season for this one as well. But, gentlemen, that'll be us for the night. That's over an hour and a half as well. We always said as well, we'll do a quick hour, but Friday nights are a wee bit special. Anything you want to kind of cover before we bid farewell to our our faithful supporters of the podcast?
I would just like to cover Baz's face, to be quite honest with you, if you don't mind.
And what?
That's all. What's that?
Cover his face in what, Andy?
Well, I don't want to say it live on YouTube, but you can imagine.
Enough. Gentlemen as well. But listen, Andy, Barry, Paul, thank you as always for your contributions. Thank you for your time. Thank you, everything. Paul.
Just stay on for a minute.
Absolutely.
Right.
So guys, absolutely. Thank you very much, everybody, for your time. As always, we bid you a good weekend. We bid you a Celtic weekend. Stay blessed, stay safe, stay Celtic, and stay CSP. We will see you on Monday for a post-weekend celebration of Celtic getting closer to winning the SPFL. CSP is out of here.